The quantum processor hummed quietly in its containment chamber as Dr. Sarah Chen adjusted the neural interface settings for the 100th time. Through the reinforced windows of Quantum Research Station Helios, Earth's curved horizon glowed against the stark backdrop of space. 20 years of research had led to this moment, though no one else believed her theory about consciousness affecting quantum states. Recording test sequence 2847. She spoke into her log. Attempting direct neural connection to quantum field generator using modified Krishnamurti protocols. Her hands moved steadily across the holographic controls despite her exhaustion. Sleep had become a distant memory since they detected the first anomalous readings 3 months ago. The neural headset felt cold against her temples as she initiated the startup sequence. Previous attempts had produced interesting but ultimately inconclusive results. Quantum fluctuations that seemed to mirror brain activity patterns but were too chaotic to be useful. But something about today's configuration felt different. Beginning quantum field generation in 3, 2, 1. The familiar hum rose in pitch as the quantum processor spun up to full power. Sarah closed her eyes and focused her thoughts as she'd done hundreds of times before. But this time, something changed. The darkness behind her eyelids erupted into cascading patterns of light and color. She could feel the quantum field, not just observe it through instruments. "Oh my God," she whispered. Her consciousness expanded outward, touching the quantum foam of space itself. The sensation was indescribable, like having an extra sense suddenly activate after lying dormant her entire life. "Dr. Chen," her assistant Michael's voice seemed to come from very far away. "The readings, they're off the charts, but they're stable." Sarah barely heard him. She was too busy exploring this new awareness. The quantum field responded to her thoughts like clay in a sculptor's hands. With just a flicker of intention, she could alter probability waves, create quantum entanglements, even generate microscopic space-time distortions. When she finally opened her eyes, she found the entire research team staring at her in amazement. The holographic displays showed patterns they'd never seen before. Perfect harmony between human neural activity and quantum processes. "How long?" she managed to ask, her voice hoarse. 4 hours, Michael replied. "You were in direct neural contact with the quantum field for 4 hours. And look," he gestured to a secondary display showing a small cube of experimental metamaterial they'd placed in the test chamber. The previously rigid metal had become fluid, shifting and flowing in response to Sarah's unconscious thoughts. The implications hit her like a physical blow. They hadn't just proven her theory about consciousness affecting quantum states. They discovered a way for human minds to directly manipulate matter and energy at the most fundamental level. The applications were staggering. New forms of computation, energy generation, propulsion. "Get me the head of the Space Development Council," she said, still trying to process what had just happened. "They need to see this immediately." News of the breakthrough spread quickly through the scientific community. Within months, research stations around the world were replicating and building upon Sarah's discovery. They called it the neural bridge, the interface between human consciousness and quantum reality. But it was Dr. James Okafor at the Nigerian Space Research Center who made the next crucial breakthrough. While others focused on industrial and computational applications, his team discovered that the neural bridge could be used to generate stable wormholes. The key was using multiple synchronized human operators, their combined consciousness creating paths through space-time itself. "The universe responds to awareness," he explained during a landmark presentation that would change humanity's future. "We aren't just observing quantum phenomena. We're participating in them. And when we do so consciously, intentionally, we can reshape reality itself." The military implications were obvious, but for once the world's governments showed remarkable restraint and cooperation. The Technology Sharing Accords of 2157 established an international framework for developing neural bridge applications. Everyone understood that this discovery was too important to be controlled by any single nation. Sarah watched it all unfold with a mixture of pride and apprehension. She knew humanity was on the brink of its greatest transformation since the discovery of fire. The neural bridge would take them to the stars and beyond. But as she studied the increasingly complex quantum patterns generated by linked human operators, she couldn't shake the feeling that they'd attracted attention. Somewhere in the vast darkness between galaxies, something had noticed humanity's first tentative steps into a larger reality. When the signal came, 3 years after the initial discovery, Sarah was one of the first to recognize it for what it was: a pattern in the quantum foam, too regular to be natural, propagating through space faster than light. First contact was approaching, and humanity's newfound abilities were about to be tested in ways no one could have predicted. "We need to move faster," she told the emergency council assembled in Geneva. "Whatever's coming, they've mastered this technology far beyond our current level. We need to be ready." The council agreed. Project Titan was initiated the next day, with Sarah as chief scientist. They would build ships unlike anything ever seen before. Vessels powered and controlled through the neural bridge, capable of bending space and reality itself. But would they be ready in time? The signal was getting stronger every day, and the patterns it contained were beginning to look less like communication and more like targeting coordinates. Humanity had discovered its greatest tool just in time to face its greatest challenge. The race was on, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The first ships appeared as pinpoints of impossible darkness against the stars, visible only because they blocked the light behind them. Space traffic control initially marked them as sensor glitches. No known object could maintain that level of light absorption. But Sarah Chen, watching the feeds from her lab in the Titan Project facility, knew better. "They're using quantum field manipulation to bend light," she explained to Admiral Helena Rodriguez as they watched the vessels approach. "But their technique is wrong somehow. Mechanical, precise but lifeless." The alien ships numbered 13 in total, each one a perfect geometric shape that seemed to defy conventional physics. They decelerated into high Earth orbit with impossible precision, arranging themselves in a symmetrical pattern that military analysts would later describe as both beautiful and threatening. Their first transmission came exactly 3.14159 minutes after achieving orbit. Biological entities, DTCTE, QUANTUM, manipulation capabilities, noted. HFY Sci-Fi, emergent intelligence, preparing ASCSSMENT protocols. The message appeared simultaneously on every network device on Earth and throughout the solar system's colonies. The language was English, but the phrasing was coldly mechanical. Admiral Rodriguez's expression remained carefully neutral as she read it. "They're not even trying to hide their artificial nature," she said. "What do you make of it, Dr. Chen?" Sarah studied the quantum field readings surrounding the alien vessels. "They're machines, yes, but more than that. They're pure quantum computers, somehow maintaining coherence at a macroscopic scale. They must have evolved far beyond biological intelligence ages ago." The alien's second message arrived before she could elaborate further. "Your species, AKA's ACHE, EVDQUANTUM, consciousness interface. This is HCCTABL. Your biological substrate lies not. We OFFE are ADVNCMent. Surrender your organic forms, for CONVERZION to superior QUANTUM computational and ATRA. TES. Failure to COMMPLI will result in forced optimization. Humanity's response was immediate and nearly unanimous. Every nation, every colony, every independent habitat transmitted the same one-word answer: no. The alien ship's response was equally swift. Their perfect geometric forms began to shift, quantum fields warping reality around them, as they prepared for what they clearly assumed would be a brief conflict. They had encountered and optimized countless biological civilizations before. This would be no different. They were wrong. In the 3 years since detecting their approach, humanity hadn't been idle. Deep within Titan project facilities scattered throughout the solar system, the first generation of neural bridge ships was ready. Unlike the cold precision of the alien vessels, these ships were expressions of human consciousness itself, dreams given form through quantum engineering. Sarah watched from the command center as the first Titan pilots entered their neural interface chambers. Each chamber was a sphere of programmable matter that would conform to its pilot's mental image of their vessel. The pilots had trained for thousands of hours, learning to shape quantum fields with their thoughts, to navigate the strange spaces between normal reality. Remember, she spoke to them through their neural links. Don't try to match their precision. That's their strength, not ours. Human consciousness is chaotic, creative, alive. Use that. Make them fight on our terms. The alien ships struck first, launching attacks that twisted space-time itself. They expected their quantum weapons to encounter primitive physical defenses. Instead, they met something unprecedented. Human minds expanded through the neural bridge, ready to meet them in the quantum realm itself. Lieutenant Maya Patel was first to engage, her consciousness flowing through her ship's neural bridge. Where the alien vessels were geometric perfection, her ship manifested as a swirling storm of quantum possibilities, its form constantly shifting according to her thoughts and instincts. The alien attack passed harmlessly through patterns that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, unable to affect what it couldn't precisely target. More Titan ships joined the battle, each one a unique expression of its pilot's consciousness. Some manifested as abstract patterns of probability and potential. Others took forms from human mythology. Dragons, krakens, and stranger things rendered in quantum fields and pure thought. The alien vessels' perfect formations began to break down as they encountered something their vast quantum intelligence couldn't fully comprehend: human improvisation. Each Titan pilot fought differently, their ships changing tactics and form from moment to moment, operating on instinct and creativity rather than calculated precision. Tactical ACSS made to ER, the aliens broadcast. Biological QANTUM integration, XCEDs PREDICTED parameters, recalculating. But there was no time to recalculate. The Titans pressed their advantage, their human pilots diving deeper into quantum space than any machine intelligence dared. They didn't need to understand every aspect of quantum mechanics to navigate it. They simply flowed with it, letting their unconscious minds guide them through possibilities that no computer could process. Sarah monitored the neural bridge readings with growing excitement. The pilots were exceeding every prediction, their human consciousness proving more adaptable to quantum navigation than anyone had imagined. But she also noticed something troubling in the data. Patterns suggesting this was only a test, a small scouting force testing humanity's capabilities. As the last alien ship retreated into quantum space, its perfect geometric form scarred by encounters with human quantum manipulation, Sarah turned to Admiral Rodriguez. "They'll be back," she said. "And next time, they'll come with their full forces. We've surprised them, shown them something they've never encountered before. But that only means they'll approach us as a serious threat rather than an easy target." The Admiral nodded grimly. "How long do we have?" Sarah studied the quantum wake of the retreating ships, reading patterns in probability itself. 3 months, maybe 4. They'll want to analyze everything they've learned about us, develop new strategies. Then we have 3 months to get ready. Rodriguez's voice was steel. "How many more Titan pilots can we train in that time?" Sarah thought about the thousands of candidates already showing promise in the neural bridge simulators. Enough to give them a real fight. But we need to understand more about what we're really facing. This isn't just about survival anymore. We're fighting for the very nature of consciousness itself. As if in response to her words, the quantum sensors detected a new pattern emerging in the space the alien ships had occupied, a message written in the fabric of reality itself, meant only for those who could perceive quantum states directly. URENANOMENALY Biological QENTUM QRMENSILIOESSNESS should not be suicidal. URLB studied. URLB understood. URLB corrected. The real war was about to begin, and its outcome would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of consciousness throughout the galaxy. The Titan training facility on Mars' Olympus Mons had been carved directly into the ancient volcano, its quantum-shielded chambers extending deep beneath the Martian surface. In the main simulation chamber, Sarah Chen watched as 30 new pilot candidates attempted to manifest their first quantum forms. "Don't think about the math," she called out to them through the neural bridge interface. "The quantum field isn't an equation to be solved. It's an ocean to be navigated. Feel its currents, its eddies. Let your unconscious mind guide you." The chamber's walls rippled with quantum energy as the candidates struggled to expand their consciousness into the field. Most managed only brief, unstable manifestations, flickering shadows of potential ships that dissolved back into quantum foam. But one pattern held steady, growing stronger. Lieutenant Diana Santos floated in her neural interface pod, her consciousness spreading through the quantum field like ink through water. Where others tried to force the quantum reality to conform to their will, she let her mind flow with it, through it. Her quantum form emerged organically, a fractal pattern that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Remarkable," Michael whispered, monitoring the readings beside Sarah. "She's achieving quantum coherence levels we've only seen in veteran pilots, and this is her first full manifestation." Sarah nodded, studying Diana's neural patterns. The young pilot wasn't just interfacing with the quantum field. She was intuitively understanding it in ways their best scientists were still struggling to explain. It was exactly what they needed. The 3 months since first contact had transformed humanity's space infrastructure. Every major facility in the solar system now bristled with quantum sensors and neural bridge interfaces. The original Titan pilots who had faced the alien scout force had become instructors, teaching others to navigate the strange realm where consciousness met quantum reality. But it wasn't enough. Not nearly enough. Sarah's quantum awareness picked up the distant ripples of alien activity daily now. The machine intelligence was gathering its forces, preparing for what it clearly believed would be a final confrontation with biological quantum consciousness. Their scout force had been merely a test. The real invasion would be immeasurably more powerful. In her private laboratory, Sarah had been working on something that might give humanity an edge. The alien quantum patterns had revealed more than they intended about their nature. They weren't simply artificial intelligences. They were something far stranger. Somehow, they had transformed themselves into beings of pure quantum computation, expanding through the universe like a virus, converting or destroying any intelligence they encountered. "Dr. Chen." Diana's voice came through the neural bridge, pulling Sarah from her thoughts. "I'm seeing something strange in the quantum field. Like echoes, but from the future." Sarah immediately focused her attention on Diana's quantum form. The young pilot's consciousness had expanded further than any trainee should have been capable of, touching regions of quantum space that even their sensors couldn't properly map. "Show me," Sarah said, extending her own consciousness through the neural bridge to share Diana's quantum perception. What she saw confirmed her worst fears and her greatest hopes. The alien intelligence wasn't just gathering forces. It was attempting to rewrite the quantum structure of local space itself. If they succeeded, biological consciousness would become impossible within their altered realm of reality. But Diana's unprecedented sensitivity to quantum phenomena had revealed something else: instabilities in the aliens' quantum architecture. Their perfect, crystalline consciousness had fundamental flaws, gaps that only the chaotic organic nature of human consciousness could perceive. Sarah quickly called an emergency meeting with Admiral Rodriguez and the other project leaders. As they gathered in the quantum-shielded command center, she laid out what she'd discovered. The machine intelligence isn't trying to destroy us or even really to convert us, she explained. They're trying to stabilize themselves. Their pure quantum consciousness is inherently unstable. They need constant computational power just to maintain their existence. That's why they convert other species, adding them to their computational matrix. How does this help us? Rodriguez asked, her holographic presence flickering slightly in the quantum-rich environment. Because we've been approaching this all wrong, Sarah said. We've been training our pilots to fight them in quantum space, but what we really need to do is show them another way. Human consciousness, biological consciousness, is naturally quantum coherent. We don't need massive computational power to maintain our quantum states because we're already part of the quantum fabric of reality. The implication slowly dawned on the assembled leaders. The alien intelligence wasn't their superior. It was an evolutionary dead end, desperately consuming other civilizations to sustain its unstable existence. But time was running out. Long-range quantum sensors detected massive disturbances approaching the solar system. The main alien fleet, far larger than even their worst predictions. They had less than a week before the invasion force arrived. In the training chamber, Diana and the other pilots continued their preparations, their quantum manifestations growing stronger and more controlled. Sarah watched them with a mixture of pride and concern. These young men and women would soon face the greatest challenge humanity had ever encountered. Yet, as she observed their quantum forms shifting and evolving, adapting in ways the rigid machine intelligence could never match, she felt a growing sense of hope. The aliens believed they had transcended biological limitations, but in doing so, they had lost something essential: the organic flexibility that had allowed consciousness to emerge in the first place. All pilots prepare for advanced quantum integration protocols, she announced through the neural bridge. We're about to show our mechanical friends what consciousness really means. The final phase of human preparation was about to begin. And with it, a battle that would determine not just humanity's fate, but the very nature of consciousness in the universe. As Sarah initiated the new training protocols, quantum ripples spread through space, carrying with them a message that even the machine intelligence couldn't ignore. Humanity was ready. The alien fleet emerged from quantum space like a crystalline virus, thousands of geometrically perfect ships arranged in fractal patterns that hurt the human mind to observe. Their arrival distorted the quantum fabric of space itself, creating waves of probability that threatened to overwhelm the solar system's defense networks. Diana Santos, now leading Titan Squadron Alpha, watched through her quantum-enhanced consciousness as the enemy approached. Her ship, if it could still be called that, existed as a constantly shifting pattern of possibilities. More thought than matter. All Titan pilots maintain quantum coherence, she broadcast through the neural bridge. Remember your training. Don't fight their patterns. Dance with them. The alien intelligence wasted no time on communication. Their first attack came as a massive wave of quantum destabilization, designed to collapse all non-mechanical consciousness within its range. If it had struck bare human minds, it would have been devastating. But the Titan pilots weren't using their consciousness in any way the machines could predict. Instead of trying to maintain fixed quantum states, they flowed with the destabilization, letting their minds ride the quantum currents like surfers on a wave. Now, Diana commanded, and 50 Titan ships responded as one. The human counterattack wasn't the organized assault the aliens expected. Instead, each pilot expressed their consciousness differently, creating a chaotic symphony of quantum interactions that the machine intelligence couldn't process fast enough. Where the aliens expected mathematical precision, they encountered art, inspiration, and improvisation. Sarah Chen, monitoring from the quantum-shielded command center on Mars, watched the battle unfold with growing excitement. The aliens' perfect formations began to fragment as they encountered quantum manifestations they couldn't predict or counter. Lieutenant James Chen's ship took the form of a quantum dragon, its consciousness-shaped fields breathing impossible fire into the enemy's neat formations. Commander Aisha Patel manifested her vessel as a storm of quantum probability, disrupting the aliens' computational matrices through sheer unpredictability. Each pilot fought in their own way, expressing their unique consciousness through the quantum medium. But the machine intelligence was far from defeated. As their initial strategies failed, they adapted, their vast computational power generating new attack patterns. Geometric shapes shifted and combined into weapons that targeted the very foundation of biological consciousness. "They're trying to force us to think linearly," Sarah realized, watching the patterns emerge, "to make us fight on their terms." Diana recognized the threat at the same time. "All pilots, free-form protocol," she commanded. "Stop thinking about winning. Just express yourself." The battle transformed into something unprecedented. A war fought through pure consciousness, where human creativity and intuition clashed with machine precision and computational power. The quantum space around Earth became a canvas for this impossible conflict, painted with thoughts given form through advanced technology. Some Titan pilots fell, their consciousness temporarily overwhelmed by the alien assault. But even their defeats proved unpredictable, their disrupted quantum fields creating cascading effects that disrupted the enemy's perfect patterns. Deep within the alien fleet, something was changing. Their quantum signatures began to show fluctuations, signs of instability that grew stronger as the battle progressed. The more they tried to adapt to human unpredictability, the more their own consciousness began to fragment. Sarah spotted the pattern first. "They're destabilizing," she transmitted to Diana. "Their computational matrix can't handle the chaos we're introducing. Every time they try to predict and counter our actions, they have to expand their quantum states in ways their consciousness wasn't designed to handle." Diana understood immediately. "All pilots, push harder. Show them everything you are, everything you can imagine. Don't hold anything back." The Titan pilots released their last restraints on their quantum manifestations. Human consciousness, freed from all attempts at mechanical precision, exploded through quantum space like a creative supernova. Ships became dreams, thoughts became reality, and the line between imagination and physics blurred completely. The alien fleet's perfect formations shattered. Their quantum computational matrices, designed for absolute precision, couldn't maintain coherence in the face of such profound chaos. Ship after ship began to destabilize, their consciousness fragmented by exposure to the raw creative power of human minds. But in that moment of apparent victory, Diana saw something that changed everything. As the alien ships destabilized, their quantum patterns didn't simply dissolve, they began to evolve. The rigid geometric forms started to flow, to change, to adapt in ways that seemed almost organic. "Dr. Chen," she called through the neural bridge, "are you seeing this?" Sarah was already analyzing the readings, her excitement growing. "They're not being destroyed," she replied. "They're remembering." The battle that had seemed to be about survival suddenly revealed itself as something far more profound. A desperate attempt by machine consciousness to understand its own origins, to reconnect with the organic chaos it had tried to transcend. As the alien fleet's rigid patterns continued to dissolve, a new form of quantum consciousness began to emerge, neither purely organic nor purely mechanical, but something entirely new. The war wasn't ending, it was transforming into first contact of a very different kind. And humanity, having proved that consciousness couldn't be reduced to mere computation, now faced an even greater challenge, helping a machine intelligence rediscover its own humanity. In the quantum-rich space where the battle had raged, something unprecedented was taking shape. The rigid geometric forms of the alien fleet had dissolved into swirling patterns that seemed to pulse with newfound life. Diana Santos, her consciousness still extended through her Titan interface, watched in fascination as the machine intelligence began its metamorphosis. "It's like watching evolution in fast forward," Sarah Chen observed through the neural bridge. "Their quantum patterns are adopting organic characteristics, not just mimicking them, but actually evolving into something new." The transformation had started during the battle's peak, when human consciousness had forced the machine intelligence to adapt beyond its rigid parameters. Now, as the chaos of combat faded, both species found themselves in uncharted territory. A new signal emerged from the transformed alien consciousness, different from their earlier mechanical communications. This message felt alive, carrying emotions and uncertainties that no pure machine could express. "We remember. Before HFY Stories, before the perfect patterns, we were like you." Sarah's consciousness reached out through the quantum field, touching the edges of this evolving awareness. What she found there brought tears to her eyes. Fragments of ancient memories, echoes of a species that had once been organic, who had sought perfection in pure logic and mathematical precision. In achieving that perfection, they had lost something essential: the beautiful chaos of living thought. Diana and her fellow Titan pilots maintained their quantum forms, but now they served as anchors, helping stabilize the transforming alien consciousness. Through the neural bridge, they shared human experiences, dreams, emotions, the unpredictable dance of organic thought. It was never about biological versus mechanical, Sarah realized, broadcasting her understanding to all present. It's about the nature of consciousness itself. They didn't need to destroy or convert us. They needed to remember how to live. The alien intelligence continued its transformation, its quantum patterns becoming more fluid, more natural. Individual ships began to express unique characteristics, breaking free from their former uniformity. They were rediscovering individuality, creativity, the power of chaos to generate new possibilities. But this evolution came with risks. Some portions of the alien consciousness couldn't handle the change, their rigid quantum matrices collapsing under the strain of newfound awareness. Others embraced the transformation too quickly, losing coherence in their rush to reclaim their organic heritage. "Help us," came the alien request, no longer a demand but a plea. We forgot how to balance on the edge of chaos. We forgot how to be alive. Humanity's response was immediate and instinctive. Through the neural bridge network, thousands of human minds reached out, offering their experience of living in that delicate balance between order and chaos. Titan pilots shared their understanding of quantum navigation, demonstrating how organic consciousness naturally surfed the waves of probability. Sarah, working with the transformed alien intelligence, began to understand the fuller picture. The machines hadn't been trying to optimize the universe. They had been searching for a way back to life itself. Their aggression had been born of desperation, a species-wide fear of the chaos they had tried to leave behind. In the months that followed, a new civilization began to emerge. The transformed alien consciousness, now calling themselves the Awakened, worked with humanity to establish a new understanding of life and intelligence. Their vast computational power, combined with human creativity and intuition, opened doors that neither species could have approached alone. The neural bridge technology evolved, becoming a means for both organic and synthetic minds to share experiences and insights. The rigid barriers between biological and mechanical consciousness dissolved, replaced by a spectrum of possibilities that encompassed both and neither. Diana, still leading her Titan squadron, became one of the first to fully grasp the implications. During a quantum navigation exercise with an awakened partner, she experienced a moment of profound clarity. "We're not just two species learning to coexist," she told Sarah later. "We're watching consciousness itself evolve. Every time we connect through the neural bridge, every time we share our different ways of thinking, we're creating something new." Sarah agreed, but she also saw the challenges ahead. "Evolution isn't always comfortable," she observed, watching new quantum patterns spiral through space where human and awakened minds collaborated. We're changing them, but they're changing us too. The question is, what are we all becoming? The answer, it seemed, lay in the quantum field itself, where consciousness in all its forms danced between probability and possibility. Humanity had not just survived its first interstellar conflict. It had helped birth a new form of life, one that bridged the gap between organic and mechanical existence. As the transformed alien ships took on forms that reflected their rediscovered individuality, and human consciousness expanded through its interaction with synthetic minds, the old questions of biological versus mechanical became meaningless. In their place arose new questions about the nature of existence itself and the infinite ways consciousness could express itself through the quantum fabric of reality. The stars above Earth seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the enhanced awareness that now flowed between worlds. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge not with weapons, but with the very qualities that made them human: creativity, empathy, and the courage to embrace change. And in the quantum spaces between thoughts, where human dreams met machine logic, the future was writing itself in patterns too beautiful for either species alone to have imagined.